wonder whether this might help the Courage get back into the lead. Sébastien Bourdais still running it over the curb. There's the Ferrari going back into the race.
Well, of course, Christian Pescatori, the lead driver in that car, double stinting it, and then the final stint now for Marco Zadra. A driver with very limited experience, really, not a guy with great single-seater background, raced, I think, Volkswagens and things like that. So the pressure is really on him to try and bring this car home and maintain that lead, which was so strongly won by Christian Pescatori, a guy with a great racing record, a guy who raced in Formula 3000 in the past, and a man who was bypassed perhaps by Formula 1, but is still very, very quick. And here's a guy that's very quick, and the Courage on the charge, and the gap is certainly closed, but I think the Courage has yet to do one more pit stop.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to have to put Jean-Christophe Bouillon into that car, so although the gap is less now, that's a bit of a false situation, because of course after the pit stop the gap will be much, much greater. They are both, incidentally, a lap ahead of the third place Ferrari, now in the hands of Enzo Calderari, although of course Lilian Brunner will have to get into that car before the end as well.
Well, now I think we can have a lead change, although it'll be short-lived, but there's Sébastien Bourdais lining up the Ferrari to pass. And there he does, dives outside. Disregard the caption, Bouillon hasn't got in the car yet. Marco Zadra is in the car, has just lost the lead, but the Pescarolo Courage will come in a little while.
Now that coming in is the Dome, Hiroki Kato behind the wheel, he's going to stay in it. It's possibly going to have new tyres, certainly it will have some more field put in the car. Kato fires it up, ready to get the Dome back into the race. Whoops, no, he stalled it. The ex-Pados driver fires it up again, sets off. A little bit more time lost there in the pit lane. What was interesting about the Courage taking the lead was the way that Marco Zadra seemed happy to let him go, didn't get involved in the battle that might delay him, because he knows that that Courage has yet to make another stop. So Zadra thinking about all of this as well as driving very quickly.
And now he can just follow one of the young tigers of French motor racing, see what his lines are like. Slightly different performance characteristics with the turbo engine, of course. And how many more laps will it be before this car dives to the pits and loses that lead?
It stays out for another lap then. The Courage goes across the line. The Ferrari still chasing.
Meanwhile, I think Mark Cole is still patrolling the pits and has got John Nielsen there. Let's hear from Mark Cole and John Nielsen.
We are exploring a lot of things this race, and I'm still smiling because I am quite happy, absolutely, because the speed is in the car. We have no doubt about that. We've tried new things again. The speed's there. I couldn't do it because my accident. I'm very sore in my chest, but a lot of things we needed to know. We know now, and I'd say this is the best test session we've had.
Well, a bit late for test sessions, John. Yeah, you're not getting any points when this is going on, of course. But that Dome is an excellent effort from the Japanese company. They do a lot of work for the Japanese motor industry. They've got a huge wind tunnel. They've got a 50% wind tunnel in Japan, and they've worked hard on this car. They're obviously hoping to enter the marketplace against the likes of Lola, Reynard, and so on, and sell more of these cars. That'll be interesting to see what happens also when Jan Lammers gets his one fired up properly. Pit stop there for the Ascari. Luckberger gets back into the car. This has also been one of the cars that's really impressed in this race.
Yeah, Ben Collins has got that car up to a pretty secure fourth place now, and that's the SR2 leader, Ted Bjork, going through, controlling things in the 3-litre class in SR2. And the Stanley Dickens run team has done an exemplary job all weekend. And Ted Bjork, who is not a name known to that many people, is certainly standing out this weekend as being a very good race driver.
Yeah, as I said earlier, David started in Scandinavian Formula 4 type racing, but then went over to do the Barber Dodge Series last year, where he wasn't amongst the winners, but he was definitely a front runner, and picked up by Stanley Dickens and goes very well indeed.
Now there is the Courage coming in. This is for Jean-Christophe Bouillon to get into the car. It should be the last stop for the Courage. Out of it gets Bourdais. He leaps out. There is Jean-Christophe Bouillon standing by with his seat. They've got to get, first of all, the seat for Bourdais out of the car. Right, that's that one out. That's his seat going in. An awful lot happening in a pit stop, more than just changing drivers. And interesting to note as well, Andrew, that there was a lot of activity going on whilst the car was being refueled, so running to different regulations than Le Mans.
Yeah, Lamar likes it done separately, matter of safety. Well, back in the pits, we just heard there's a slight problem perhaps for Jules Bouillard. There he is, going very slowly out of the pits, maybe just can't get a gear. So let's hope he can get back in the race and consolidate that second place. The Ascari's still going well, and well, Bouillard drops to third position, 1 lap behind, and Lutberger and Collins still in fourth place for the Ascari Judd.
Yeah, the Courage back on the circuit, but hardly looking as though it's going at a proper race pace. There is number 1 going through, Marco Zadra, looking as though he and Christian Pescatore are on target now for 20 points. And there is the Courage. That is very definitely a problem, isn't it?
Oh, what a shame for them. They worked so hard for this.
The mystifying thing is, it seems to have been perfect throughout Bourdais' double stint, and as soon as poor old Bouillon gets in the car, something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, raced for 1 season in Formula 1 with Sauber, then tested for Williams for a number of years. Williams reckoned he was one of the very fastest men over a single lap, but just couldn't string a lot of quick laps together. Oh, flames, I think a turbo must have blown in that car. Well, a valiant effort comes to naught. And now it's looking very scarlet red at the front of this field. Yeah, the Pescarolo Courage is pushed away. And that car now, David, is in third place.
It's a great result, this, isn't it, potentially, for the Ascari, as Lutberger, they're really pressing on, runs very wide, coming out of the final corner, over the curb, kicks up the dirt. But Werner Lutberger now promoted to third place in the Ascari. Very spectacular driver. Well, the car might be a couple of laps adrift of the leading Ferrari, but it doesn't matter. It looked as though a podium finish is around the corner for them.
And Ted Bjork is up to 5th place overall in the little 3-litre Lola.
The SR2 battle as competitive as ever. Ted Bjork having been a real revelation this weekend, but also going very well. The Tampoli of Renato Nobili, and also the Lucchini in the hands of Massimo Saccomano.
And not to mention Mike Millard's excellent effort with Ian Flux in the Arapia 6.
Into the pit lane then comes Massimo Monti, and Enzo Calderari carries on in Ferrari number 2.
Yes, we were in front, we battled for Podium, and for sure we will be really competitive, but the problem was really difficult with the tires, you know. We had a really big consumption of the tires, and it wasn't really predict, because we were started with medium tires, and normally with that type of tires there were no problem.
Pit stop in SR2, Massimo Monti handing over here to Renato Nobili. You're looking at the Ascari in the hands of Werner Lutberger, which again runs wide at the final corner. There in the pits, about to leave and get back into the race. We hope is 59 in the hands now of Renato Nobili. Yes, it's a rather long stop, the car recalcitrant to go, and you can see why it was being blocked in there by one of the Lucchinis. At the front of the field, it's all looking rather red. Ferrari's first and second. Leading is the car of Christian Pescatore and Marco Zadra coming towards us there, looking to lap its teammate. Number 2 of Angelo Zadra, Lilian Brenner, who has yet to drive, and Enzo Calderari. The 2 Ferraris run by BMS Scuderia Italia, first and second at the moment. I suppose you can take it as red, therefore.
Enzo's had a fine career in motor racing, hasn't he, over the years? Raced for TWR in touring cars, raced very successfully in GTs in the BPR series with Lilian Brenner.
She came from an equestrian background, didn't she, before she went racing? She powers across the line. She's about to lap the Rapier 6 there in the hands of Ian Flux, that car which had a suspension problem here on Friday when it was testing. I just wonder whether it might have recurred once again, because the car is losing time now. There's the Ascari going through, still being driven very well by Werner Lutberger, who really is a very spectacular guy behind the wheel of this car.
Yeah, had several years in Formula 3000 driving for Edenbridge Racing, and he was followed there by Ted Bjork, who is leading the SR2 category by almost a lap at the moment from the Rowan Racing Pilbeam. And
there you can see the top 2 cars, but in reverse order, because still number 1, The car of Marco Zadra is looking to lap Enzo Calderari. It's been a very dominant day for Scuderia Italia, who I don't think have ever had quite such a dominant performance in the championship. Now don't forget, Calderari has got to stop, and this is the lap on which he does it. Lilian Brenner will take over that car for the final part of the race. So that means that now number 2 does lose a lap to Ferrari number 1. Marco Zadra comes across the line. He's getting ever closer to his first win, but now Lilian Brenner is about to take over Ferrari number 2.
Yeah, Lilian and Enzo have raced together since 1993. I think they're probably an item off the track as well, if my memory serves me right. But there is Werner Luchberger, this Ascari looking good. They're hoping to run 2 later in the season. And of course they've also got an entry at Le Mans, which is indeed good news for the British team. But owned by a Dutchman, Klaus Schwartz, who is in the oil industry, and hoping to build a series of GT cars for the road, and the prototype is certainly looking very nice indeed, with a BMW motor.
There's Lilian Brenner going back into the race, still in second position. And there is Ted Bjork coming towards us. He has also got to make one more stop, but he's close to winning on his European sports car debut here, which will be a great result for him. The car has gone faultlessly all weekend, and this really will be a very good run by the Swedes. In comes number 1, the race leader, coming into the pit lane. You have to make 3 stops under the regulations in the FIA Sportscar Championship. This is the final one of them. He might have a bit more fuel to squeeze into that car, but he's a lap ahead of anybody else, and he's going well here for Zadra and Pescatori.
Crawling along on the rev limiter there. Always frustrating. Just a quick squirt of fuel. They look at the front of the car, clean out any bits of debris. And he goes away, doesn't leave any black lines as he exits the pits. And as you said, David, Scuderia Italia doing a fantastic job with these Ferraris. A lot more modern motor cars in this race, but still, great to see the prancing horse out in front.
And a great noise the cars make as well. You're looking at another of the Ferrari 333 SPs. It is Lilian Brenner, second in this race, having just lapped the new Lucchini again. We've only got 15 more minutes of this race remaining. That's the man in 4th place, Gary Formato. Well, bearing in mind that he and Mauro Baldi have had such a miserable weekend, 4th is good, but not for much longer, because off he goes.
He'll keep it running, he'll get it back on the track, and he does.
Won't have done much good to the tyres, but he's still going in 4th place. In the pits, Ted Bjork. Rather undignified way to have a drink of water, but at least he can take on some liquid. So has the car, and Ted Bjork now going back into the race.
Yeah, Larry Alberto doing the middle shift. And problems! Yeah, all that dust and dirt coming out of the car. I just wonder if maybe the throttle's been stuck open by the gravel. Does happen on occasion. And, well, 4th place looked in the bag. And, oh dear, the Ascari's out as well. Well, maybe the Ryland Scott will be able to continue, but that Ascari, that's history. I don't know if Mark Cole can give us any news on that car, what the problem is. Well, we're just hearing it's something related to the engine, to the Judd engine, and there those 2 Scuderia Italia Ferraris again, nose to tail.
And you notice the way that Marco Zadra has backed right off, allowing there Lilian Brenner to unlap herself. I don't think Marco Zadra has got a problem. I just think now he's nursing the car to the finish. He doesn't have to push too hard. He's virtually a lap ahead of Lilian Brenner still, and it's looking as though it's going to be a 1-2 for the team.
Well, Christian Pescatori is wondering what's happening out there, because that car is going very slowly.
The brakes take a fair amount of hammer around here. It could be that they are starting to wilt a little bit. That's Formato in the pit lane. Now, can the car get back in the race? Can it take a good finish?
If it does, it could be on the podium even.
You can see them trying to blow the gravel out of the front of the car there. What you don't want is that getting in any of the components, or of course clogging up the radiators and causing the car to overheat. So another unscheduled stop for Gary Formato.
Now Marco Zadra, what is going through his head at the moment? Remember, he's never won one of these races. Pescatori is the champion, he's won plenty, but his new co-driver, he hasn't stood on the top step of that rostrum before. I'm not sure he's ever won a motor race, actually.
Well, he's about to now. He comes out of the final corner. Is this the last lap as the 2.5 hours elapsed? He comes now up towards the line. Through goes the Ferrari. No, one more lap for him still to go. At least one more lap for him still to go. But I'm fascinated to know why the car is going so slowly now relative to earlier on. These carbon fibre brakes ought to last longer, and yet he is certainly struggling with whatever the problem is at the moment. No wonder the team's looking a bit mystified. Lilian Brunner going through in second place. Now there's Gary Formato. He's nursing this sick car, but even so it would appear that third place is on for him. Marco Zadra for the final time making his way around the circuit. He's 1.25 minutes ahead of Lilian Brunner. The gap has been much greater than that, but as long as he comes home first, I suspect that's all that the team will bother about. But look at the pace of the car, greatly reduced, isn't it now?
It certainly is. Well, this Barcelona track has taken its toll here. Very few of the SR1s still running. A lot of the SR2s still in it and up there on the podium. And we hear there might be a problem for Ted Bjork.
Well, no problems, hopefully, for the Ferrari between this corner and the checkered flag, because now, up towards the line, comes Marco Zadra. There is the flag. There is his first win, shared with Christian Pescatori. BMS Scuderia Italia celebrate. They nearly topple over the pit wall. It is a 1-2 for the Red Arrows. The two Ferraris come home first and second. Zadra and Pescatori, the winners, ahead of Angelo Zadra, sharing with Calderari and Britt.
Well, a great way to start the season, and I'm sure Mark Cole is going to be down there in the victory celebrations.
Marco, Christian, great race, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, but Marco have a little problem with brake in the final, so it's finished well now.
But good for the team, 1-2.
Yeah, 1-2, but the Ferrari car is very fast, but it's another car has a big problem with engine, so for my car, for my team, it's very important to finish the race.
So Marco, you have some brake problems.
Yes, at the end of the race I have a very big problem and I can't brake. I have to race very slowly. I'm very afraid about this. I want to see the finish.
Enzo, Lilian, second place, a great race for you, huh?
Yes, we are really happy because we did a lot of testing here and I think it paid us to be in very good conditions for the race, and the car was really fine and the team did a good job on the car, and I think we have to thank the team for this effort to come here and test a lot so we could finish second. We're very happy.
Lilian, no problems? You did the final drive?
No, there was no problem. Just told me to go slow, that's all, because we needed to finish the race, but the car was wonderful, so I'm really happy for the team.
So let's confirm the results going through the various retirements here, and there were a lot of them, and some very disappointing days for people like Team Ascari and the Pescarolo team. So just 4 of them finishing in the SR1 category, and Ferraris 1 and 2, and finally John Nielsen and Kato made it to 4th place, but a long way behind. And in 5th place, it was the SR2 winners. Mark Cole is with them.
Martin O'Connell, first time out here at Barcelona in the FIA Sportscar Championship. Last lap, almost victory.
Yes, I mean, they had a problem with the Lola, slipped off about 10 minutes before the end, but that's what these long races are all about, I think, keeping going to the end, really. In reality, they shouldn't have been pushing. They'd got a big enough lead, and it was just a matter of getting to the end, but they made a mistake, so our good fortune today.
So you were really upset for them, but of course you'd be celebrating tonight.
Well, yes, I think we'll have a few drinks later. It's been a very difficult weekend for everybody, and just to get the result is tremendous.
The Warren Carway, great for you as well.
It is. It's absolutely fantastic. It's great for the whole team. The guys have been working here till 12:30, 1 o'clock every single night. They've had engines go, gearboxes, clutches, the whole lot. So this is as much a team thing as it is for us. Everybody got us this far, so we're happy.
Let's confirm the SR2 positions. And going up through the field, you see eventually the Mike Millard car finishing 5th place. But the win for Rowan Racing and Alberto and Bjork, I think a slip off the circuit, costing them several seconds, and the victory. And the Tonetti car finishing in 3rd place. But what a result for Rowan Racing. Some nice shiny trophies. The champagne is to follow. Yeah, well, that's not the place to be. Lots of fun and games on the victory rostrum. Here is the point standings. David, your final thoughts.
A great race, and it proves once again that the Ferraris may not be the youngest cars out there, but they're simple, they're effective, and they are still the cars to beat. The Ferraris fill the top 2 places here in Barcelona. Scuderia Italia leads the team's championship from R&M, and Team Denblois is third with the Dome.
Round 2 of the championship will be a famous race, the Monza 1,000 kilometres. The presentation to Rowan Racing drivers Martin O'Connell and Warren Carway.